112 damage above the threshold. They're in a much more stacked side of the zone, where peterbot would eventually have to rotate into if they did continue to go straight. And you're seeing the lay of the land. A lot of these teams and players on top of mountains, the edges, so that way they can have as much elevation as possible without investing too many materials.
Ooh. clix takes in Yamzo, finds a team up on the island here. The zone's gonna end up pulling that way. They have a couple of options to go for right now. Teams rotating early, starting to get punished in here. It's Noisy and crew. Some good opportunity to farm some damage here and now. You know what? They're going to be able to sit here for a while if they wanted to and just farm every team for damage, really set back these trios. Meanwhile, Visuals brings in a Minish, get dropped down on by Muzz and Jacko from the high ground there, and they get the finish and they slide on out, content with the refarm. Leftover material there. They pick up what they can, but Visuals and Braids are going to have to play this one out as a duo now. It's that third place spot, that comfort, starting to slip away here. Even though last game was a 5th place second, Recooper and Curly's win catapulted them up and over them by 40 points. And now it's going to be all the more difficult here as Ruz, Japco, and Rise, our 5th place team, are starting to, again, creep up on them. So this is direct competition here.
Yeah. Just under about 60 or so points is the differential, and they're the ones that take them down and left them as a duo. It's Aegis Coil in a very, very similar spot. No IGL this time around, but at least Acorn can still lend a helping hand. Even while watching on the sidelines, 445 damage above the threshold. You're seeing it around the lobby, some faring much better than others. It's Cold, Ritual, peterbot. And they're a team that are above or below. They don't really let them affect their nerves at all or really dictate the game plan unless they really have no choice. And they get a clean rotation towards the side, just under the island as well.
They're faced up right next to clix's trio. Little do they know, they kind of swung around the side here. And notice, this was not a good rotate for them. They were at all max cap material. They're about halfway through their reserves right now because they went early. And it's likely because clix's trio was focusing them first, given that they were one of the few teams to rotate. And look, they all pulled the zone now, but hold up. Pause that story really quickly as Boyo, Aquin, Majors are finding themselves in absolute shambles territory here. Boyo, the last man standing here for the trio, trying to keep his essential 5th place position alive right now, but how much can he do as he's got a maximum draw pull halfway through the mats here, Jacob? This is not good.
Yeah, this is a nightmare. It's going to be tough. Good thing he does have the materials. He does have the gold splashes and a kneecapper, so he can close the distance in the blink of an eye. But a max pull, never easy for anybody, especially when you have a team just like this, looking so far into the distance from the top of the Shogun's island. And they're down below Surge 52. There's a lot of opportunity here with this next couple players trying to rotate in, but this is one of those positions where I see you'd think, because it's so elevated above everybody else on the map, that you can get a lot of Surge, but more times than not, I see teams struggle to pick up the damage they need from up there.
A lot harder than it looks. Boyo, 562 above. Thinking if he needs to fight his way through this one. Opts not to. Player there on the rotate though. It's gonna slow him down. Another one in the box.
Wow.
To be pieces him before he even realizes what happens, but the trio's there to back him up. He still has a couple splashes to work with. Siphon keeping him alive, but no attack in the distance. He has to chug it out, but it's only 10 in the chug. It's not enough, and Boyo's gonna fall prematurely here in game number 10. Higgs, clix, and Yamzo only have a single elimination. So once again, they have a lot of ground to make up for. But first, they have to get to the zone. This is where they play best, though. Front side, low ground, early rotates. They know how to do this. They're met with Kanata's resistance on the other side of the wall here.
Yeah, they need to do exactly that. Be a little bit more proactive in getting those eliminations, because there's 6 eliminations on the other side. That is not the way to catch up by being a little bit too slow to the punch. Sometimes you just have to take that risk. Kittles are doing the same thing up above, but he goes down for it. Visuals, Braid still trying to hold on to their bubble spot in terms of the global championship, but they're 61 below the damage threshold. They know not only do they have to rotate, so many other teams do too as well, and there's the shot that they need onto Phenom. They're going to be above the damage threshold, but not by much. They're still going to be thinking about it in the back of their minds, especially after they continue this rotation. Peterbot Cold Ritual still looking around for any opportunities, but they built a lot of space. So when a team like this tries to jump in the box, they send them right back home.
I was gonna say, if they would have gotten that elim, those would have been the mats that they've been desperately looking for. They haven't been able to find that refresh, even though they secured a couple eliminations. But Hayes is on the other side here. He might be the first target picked up here. The knock comes through, and another team's there. It's Shadow Curve and Tyler, who snipe away the mats that they are trying to secure. Gold Splash has come out. Meanwhile, on the low ground, clix is on the move. But Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual are recognizing danger is approaching.
Yep, they're looking up right now. They're seeing high ground team trying to jump across. That's Muzz, that's Rise and Yapko, but Muzz was the one trying to go ahead to the front side of the zone and reconnect them to make sure they're fortified. But we know what happens here. The same old song and dance. The Gold Splash is out. Peterbot is looking up, trying to put down pressure. Good damage onto Muzz. The confidence is building here for Peterbot and Cold, but it's only momentary because they don't have any materials. This is a challenge that they want to take but can't.
They already committed. I mean, at this point, they have to finish the job. Cold, Ritual are playing the side angles here while Peterbot's kind of front manning it, but they're out of mats. They're forced to box up collectively, and High Ground barely has anything either, so they're almost playing directly into their hands right now. The zone's gonna bounce back, though. It's gonna be perfect for Muzz Trio, as this is what they were looking like. Peterbot puts it all on the line, though. He says 7 mats. That's all I need to go up and take this High Ground from you. Gets melted.
That is just insane yet again, but we still have Higgs and Yamzo down below. The space that they created, they're trying to make it work. But Higgs, he looks like he got lost into the fray, trying to reunite. The splashes are coming out, doing what they can to keep him alive. Yamzo is here, trying to take space, but they don't have build monster, so it's all or nothing, and Booga goes down. They find a key elimination, and a refresh that's keeping them going.
Higgs is still going until he gets another knockoff to Tyler. Yamzo now, by himself, fully healthy. Tyler knocked in the box next door. The comms come through. Yamzo's thinking about going for it. He sees the med miss. He sees what's happening. The zone's bouncing back to him. He's got a couple of options here. Another team in the bush in front of him, and he knows that he can go for them as well, but waits for the opportunity. But no, the timing was late, but it doesn't matter. Cole gets set down by Yamzo, and now he is inside the top 5.
That was Cold. That was Ritual.
And another one there too.
Peterbot's down as well. These are the difference-making points here. The eliminations, the placement, but now he's in a tough situation. 3v2, v1 situation here. Yamzo, if he could just get one more elimination, one more placements, they can put him within reach of that top spot, but it's Curve trying to heal off, backside of zone, but he's making a quick dash to the front. Into Yamzo he goes. Haymaker to the outside of the zone. He gets the elimination. Yamzo is second, but it's Donnie, it's Joji, it's Craze. Thieves of the night, they steal away the game.
They may have won the game, but the eyes are on the prize for Zoe, who just went crazy in the end game there alongside Higgs. What a game 10 that was, keeping it so interesting. And it makes you look at the bigger picture. Muzz, Rise, Jacko, one of the only teams we're seeing on the North American region unafraid of going for height. Really keeping it so interesting for us there. And then Peterbot consistently willing to kind of contend it as well. Donnie, Crazy, Joji couldn't have had better timing though as they go up. And look, they don't even have anything. They were down to scraps and they find themselves a huge victory out there, Zeke, in game number 10. I'm gonna pass out. Okay. No, we have to talk about Yamzo after the break. Right now, we got to give it Joji, Donnie, Craze, game number 10, the victory royale. At the end of the day, right, we're still playing for prize money. For them to just go ahead and pick up this VR, we've got momentum. We just have to carry that momentum forward, Kelly. If we can do that, we're playing for life-changing amounts of money.
Yeah, unfortunately, we weren't watching too much of them in the end game there because just so much was happening, but I love that we get a second look right here, and it actually looks like they were able to hold high ground. Obviously, Muzz's trio did eventually go down there, so only holding high ground for a few moments in these final fights, but Donnie, Craze, a duo going up against 2 solos, Yamzo just putting on such a clinic for the low ground solo clutch. But again, once more, Joji, Donnie, Craze, congratulations on your first victory royale of the tournament.
I mean,
345 points is absolutely crazy, right? Like once these kind of games happen, we sometimes we forget. These teams can get 100 points very, very quickly, right? So I know Zeke was kind of calling out, hey, listen, prize money. Yeah, for sure, right? Jump yourself up a couple of spots, but a couple more games like that, you could potentially maybe tweak into one of those qualifying spots. Oh, that's probably too hard. I'm wishful thinking right there. Yeah, we gotta imagine to get that victory royale. Remember, they had to have stolen high ground from peterbot trio at some point, which is just so interesting. Great win from this trio.
I mean, to jump up, now it's at 345 points. They're jumping up into 11th place. Top 10 is where we want to be. That's where the money swings start to get crazier and crazier, right? So with 2 games left, they could find themselves, like you're saying, maybe even higher on the standings. For now, we're going to go to a break. When we return, so much to discuss. See you real soon. The points are too close. The points are too close with 2 games left to go. In this last game, clix, Iamzo, Pigs. Iamzo left as a solo, back against the wall. Nothing in the inventory. Has to make the play of his career to try and minimize these points. To try and make sure peterbot hold the ritual. Don't pull away farther than they already are. And he does it. I cannot believe that Iamzo, as a solo, ended 2nd place with 8 eliminations. That's a heist. This is the heist season. He just pulled off the biggest heist.
Honestly, I can believe it. I actually actually asked Kinch at the start of the finals this weekend to give me the damage numbers, but only for players from Zone 9 to 12. And Iamzo, unsurprisingly, was number 1. When it comes down to these end games, when it comes down to duo or solo clutching, Iamzo is always the one that we see here on the low ground. Even when he gets down to just a sliver of health, Vivid, he has not stopped yet.
The names that are popping up when he hits those shotgun shots, one of the most important ones there, being on to cold. I mean, who could write it any better? As a solo duo left alive on peterbot trio, they're trying to spray into my box. Boom, one pump to go ahead and save the game. Not a try is getting in my box too. One pump there as well. The clutch to keep us this close on the leaderboard, 16 points. What an absolute cinema masterclass by Iamzo right there. But we gotta talk about it. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, 5th place, 9 eliminations, still racking up the elimination on the leaderboard, right? 89 total eliminations. It's insane how many of their points are coming from them.
Oh yeah, and we knew that they were going to be elimination heavy, but something that I really appreciate from them and that you were appreciating as well, Vivid, is that they are one of the only trios that is really pressuring height, and we can see just how successful that can be when you play it right. But another thing we noticed is that they had no builds when they were pressuring height.
Yeah.
Staying onto the second high ground could have been an opportunity for them to kind of take some shots on the low ground, hopefully get a refresh, but still going on the aggressive. It obviously wasn't exactly what they wanted, but with how many eliminations they came out with, still seems to be a pretty positive program.
Standings. Bring them back. You gotta tell more of this crazy story. Remember, Peterbot, Cold Ritual, they've already qualified. So right now, if everything stops, we're looking at a top 4 finish to earn one of the 3 spots going to Global Championships. Keep in mind, though, Pollo is not that far away right now. 7th place. He could look to strike. And I mean, if we look at the point from 3rd all the way down to 10th, right? This is still possible. I would say like 9th. All right, let's be realistic a little bit, Zeke. Sorry about that, Zeke. 9th place to 3rd place. Anything can still happen. A single interaction, a single failed move, a single failed edit could mean a trio in these top 10 could fall, and then everyone else will desperately be trying to claw their way up these standings. It is not only unbelievable at the very top, we have this back and forth. Peterbot trying to reclaim from, you know, last major, he got a 2nd place. He wants the 1st place again. Clix trying to get that 1st championship title, right? But everywhere else, look how close this is. And there's still the Pollo. Up 5, Kelly. My stress levels are through the roof.
Yeah, there is honestly just so many different stories that are going on right now. It's not just the story of who's going to get first. It's not just the story of can Clix finally win his victory royale. It's not, or his finals. It's not just the story of can Peterbot reclaim his former glory. There is so much going on here, and a team that we keep looking at time and time again, Rise, Muzz, and Yapko, yet to punch their ticket to the Global Championships. But we all know that there's no way this trio just can't make it to the Global Champions, especially after what we've seen this weekend. Their ability to hold high ground, their ability to control low ground, regardless of what position they're in, Vivid, they always come out on top.
And I love the fact that you're kind of pointing out positions that they're in. Why don't we go ahead and talk about real quick before we jump into game number 11, Reek, Cooper, and Curly. They went down early, and I was like, oh, that's so bad for the qual spot. Still in 3rd, that blanket that they had kind of going into that game, saving them right there. They got to pick things back up and hold on to that qual spot.
That's exactly the point, right? They can't, something like that can't happen to any of these trios in the top 10. It is the time once again, 2 games left to go. Jacob PR, MDF, back over to you.
This is instantly at the top of my list for most entertaining FNCSs ever. Doesn't matter the region, Monster. We only have 2 games left of this tournament.
Yeah, look, the way that this story is unfolding right here, the race between Clix and Peterbot and their teams is absolutely incredible. I mean, last game, though, 33rd place team decided to kind of split their drop and give them something else to think about. So if Zeke is feeling the pressure, imagine the players right now. Anything can happen as game number 11 kicks off. Game 11 And Jacob, we're kicking this one off, bro. It is all or nothing now. This is the moment, Jacob, where they have to kind of set the stage and set it up for themselves and ride this thing out to the very end.
Man, I know you accumulate points throughout these 12 games of the tournament, but you know as well as I do, when players look back at an event and they lose, whether it's 1 point or 30, it's usually the last 2 matches that it really boils down to. And we're in those last 2 matches. One mistake could cost you everything at the top of the leaderboard with clix versus peterbot. One mistake could cost you a global championship spot with everybody all the way down to the top 10. And this is going to be a nail-biter finish. They're contested again, and this time it's Fallen and his full trio.
Yeah, you know what? Like, Neonzo, Clix, and Higgs don't have the problem with land on them, but you saw that 33rd place team Fallen just landed on cold again, right? But they get the elimination. That means they're getting those quick points and that extra damage. If anything, they're almost propping up the fact that peterbot and Cold and Ritual now get kind of an advantage, right? A little bit more of that point lead that, let's be honest, Click. They've had to go above and beyond just to start closing that gap. And they're only 10 points away.
The crazy thing that has me laughing right now is usually when a team contests them, they all kind of converge back. They leave the train to go elsewhere because they want to make sure they all stay alive. 3v1, Cold did not need a single teammate to kind of backtrack into Crime City right away. They still continued on looting that train. They got the mythic pump. You know they're going to be able to grab that medallion. And now Ritual finally returned back towards Crime City just to kind of figure out where all these players are at. They didn't even change a thing while getting contested.
Yeah, you can see just no sweat, right? They're like, ah, oh, don't worry about it. We got this team on lock. We're good right here. Take your time, get your loot together. Ritual comes back to just play a little bit of support, but I think they're gonna wait for their, I was just gonna say, to get themselves super situated and then likely collapse on this trio. Peterbot's getting strength, looking to fish for tags. Nothing available as of right now, so the team that's left inside of Crime City might be the first that they jump on.
Yeah, and that's going to be a chance now. Footsteps are there. Cold once again landing a huge shot onto Fallen. New Nitro's there as well. 2v2 situation that's quickly going to become a 3v2 as soon as peterbot makes his way on. No burn, he is there. Welcome him to the fight because now he's on attack mode. Cold, a couple missed edits, so that's not going to slow him down, especially with a flank coming in from Fallen. Ritual is there to alleviate some of that pressure. Now it's a 3v1. And I might not be the best at math, but 3 is definitely better than 1, especially when they know exactly where Noob Nitro is at. Ritual this time is going to be one leading the charge.
That's right, and think about it. These are 8 points they're securing right now, so pivotal moment right now for Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual as far as the overall tournament race is concerned. Put right in the dumpster there, and just like that, that's 2 elims now for Peterbot here at the Crime City. It doesn't really throw them off, right? Because it didn't go the distance. This is not a team that put up much resistance here at the drop, so Peterbot's team is probably feeling pretty good about that one.
Yeah, the small eliminations like that in a race this close that can prove to be the difference makers. Curve, Shadow, Tyler pushing up on towards the fight. Backside of Demon's Dojo on top of that hill. There is a full team position up there. I think Taki, Yishao, and Bert. And right now, they do have a little bit of advantage in terms of elevation, but that one's quickly going out the window, and now they're just getting chased down. They have the pressure. They chop Vert down back into his teammate's box. And now they're continuing to put down pressure with his elevation advantage. Shadow's pushing up. I can expect him to try to steal away some of those pieces as he inches closer.
Little exchange here. Shadow, Tyler, and Curve looking for a lead before they set up the collapse here. You know, Taki, Isha, and Bert, I was just going to say, this is no pushover trio. I think they're recognizing that, hey, wait a second, this team might be above average for what it's worth. Looking at the points earned on a day for Shadow, Tyler, and Curve. Overall, they've been relatively competitive. Last game, they finished 3rd with 9th place. I know we've put so much focus in on some of the other trios, obviously. But today has been a great day for Shadow, Curve, and Tyler, as they are in a race right now for a global championship spot. There's a few trios in that conversation. Back on over to Flooded Frog. This is a pretty significant setup happening right now. Reed Cooper and Curly have to be on edge here. Little do they know, they've gotten into a lot of fights here at the Flooded Frogs, but never against Iamzo, Clix, and Higgs, who have actually initiated the fight.
This is kind of dangerous for both of these teams. Clix, Iamzo, Higgs. If they go down here, you can almost guarantee they're not going to be able to get that first place spot, barring any miracle. But Reed, Cooper, and Curly on the other side, if they go down here, that means their global championship spot is on the line in their last and final game of the day. I believe it was only about a 45-point difference between Muzz and that third spot on the qualification spot. Only 64 points between Muzz and Reed, Cooper, and Curly.
Oh, Cooper stepping up right now. Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs backing off after the ambush was unsuccessful. And I wonder if Cooper, Reed, and Curly are gonna kind of pick up the fact that this is Clix's trio. Remember, they've gotten into a lot of fights here, right? Against teams not as notable, so their confidence could be misreading the situation since Curly did end up surviving. But it seems like they're not gonna take it personal. They're gonna be content with the back and forth and kind of call it off for now. But a very close call as they rotate into another team. Wait a second. That could be bad for Clix's trio now.
Yeah, especially since they took damage on the way out as well, so they're already weak. Just like you said, rotating into another team as we jump on board. Grades, visuals, and a Minish fourth place when it comes to the overall leaderboard, which means they would grab that third spot for the global championship. But 2 games left, they still need to close it out. And already you see 4 eliminations. And I was watching the feed. There's one way to get that mythic drum gun. There's one team you have to go through, which leads me to believe there Bucky, Okus, and Cam are down in some way, shape, or form, if not already back in the lobby.
In a tough position to be in. They've been kind of middling in the competition. They've had a few moments to break away, but nothing significant just yet. Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs, though. Here's the full update. Back to Lone Wolf Lair they go. Team hot on their heels here. As Dozier and his trio were the one that kind of caught them off guard there for a moment. But this is a full-on reset angle for this team right now. Don't blame them at all. Thinking about visuals, grades, and diminish though, those 4 elims puts them neck and neck with Reed Cooper and Curly now. So already they've kind of sealed the gap there just a tad bit, breaking themselves ever so slightly away from Muzz, Jacko, and Rise, or fighting for that position as well. Global championship is on the line here. Do keep in mind this major is going to be the largest as far as the qualification spots for globals are concerned. There are 3 spots in the air here for NA Central.
This team is just outside of that bubble. I believe 57 points down from entering into that top 4, which peterbot Cold Ritual would mean a spot would roll down. And that's the thing. They were playing so well yesterday, so consistent. Talk about out of all the games that they've had yesterday, it was just kind of in and out. They were able to get some big eliminations. They closed the day off with something special. And then today is where they find themselves a little bit of trouble. 5th place, 6th place. And then it was that 16th place with no eliminations 2 games ago. They were only able to net 2 points for that placement. And that's what really stopped their trajectory from keeping themselves inside of that bubble.
Gotta stay in the conversation. Cooper, Reed, and Curly. See from their kind of loadout situation. Not too much ammunition here on Cooper's side. Lots to be desired. Curly on the other side, definitely a lot better, so should be more than ample for this mid-game to come. Teams here, but not a player in sight. So much different kind of dynamic happening here.
Yeah, we were talking about throughout the day, you know, a team pushing over to another team or even changing their drop spot, what that does in the course of the game. Now, what does that do with Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs pushing on over, not allowing them to get the surge for the teams that did have to rotate by from that northwest corner of the map. So that's a lost opportunity there for them. Let's see how they're going to be able to pick up the pace with the zone moving over in this direction. Agers, A4, Pollo, uncontested throughout the day. And they did pull off a victory royale, Monster. They did show that they have the potential to pop off. Like, even leading up to this major in the group stages, you saw a couple of struggles, and I thought things would have been figured out by then. But with 2 games left, they can still has a good chance to make a good amount of money. And I wouldn't say it's like life-changing for a team that's already won a major, but it's definitely going to allow them to take a good vacation.
Yep, again, always have his stats, right? Gotta keep the history looking tight. Everyone will hold it against it either way. Looking at the zone here, very reminiscent of the entire kind of weekend.
Just taking it one step further on the other side, not just a ramp up, curved it to the side. Making sure they get as many lines of sight as possible. We know no one's over there for now, but Pollo just waiting, making sure that nobody's gonna pop. Eliminations from the early game, moving up what's left over from the black market. Just trying to grab some extra heals, some extra loot to take them farther.
Makes a huge difference there. Every little bit of advantage. Pigs, Yamzo, and Clix, though, rotating into Capcom, Muzz, and Rise right now, who, by the way, have had extremely key positioning this entire Day 2 tournament. Not a single time we've seen them out of position. This is the first time they're kind of not at a super prime location, but they have a several amount of eliminations, so it seems like they've just gotten out of one.
Yeah, almost forced to slow pay things at the edge of that mountain. But they realize the team is up there, even with trading shots back and forth. They're just going to continue to move towards the north side, figure out a way in from there.
Did they find a solo? I think Clix's team might have just found a solo as they moved to the north there. Someone kind of lurking about here.
Always in the bush.
Chaos gaming in the bush. Okay, it makes sense as to why they were kind of looking around.
They're all rotating through there too. Chaos is probably like nervous. No, don't see me. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. He's not even moving to make sure that they ran past him far enough. He's just gonna wait until his audio visuals go away, cross his fingers. And it really kind of, how many heals does he have in his inventory? Because you know he has almost no choice but to go back in the zone, maybe towards Lone Wolf Lair to try to get those reboots if he even has the cards.
Yamzo, Clix, and Higgs, though, just trying to rotate right now. Meanwhile, peterbot, Ritual, and Cold met with a lot of resistance here on the outer edge of the zone. Where's the white heals, though? I'm asking myself here. Peterbot doesn't seem like they have any. They have to double back right now. And they're in a race against the clock. Cold is also lit up. Meanwhile, Higgs, Clix, and Yamzo find a little bit of a break. A little bit of a moment here to find a elimination and some extra material to go the distance here for the mid game.
And that Sentinel Pup upgrade for Higgs. He was walking around with an Infiltrator, which, yeah, can do some damage from far away. But you know, way a team like this fights, you want to go ahead and get the Sentinel Pump. Any variation at this point, what's really going to be in their minds. Water Sprite going down, the last of the heals. And this is where they got to be careful. With that elimination, they now have the option and flexibility to kind of bypass the black market altogether. It is just outside of zone, and you see 2 teams nearby as well. So they really have just a few options thanks to that early game aggression and being able to pick up that one elimination. But peterbot on the other side, from fight to fight, they got that first elimination, and now they almost have Josh boxed up. Either way, he's going to get knocked down. And that's going to be a full-on cleanup. And you see in the distance, just on one of those mountains just outside Foxy Floodgates, it was the solo player. He has to watch his teammate go down and figure out how is he going to get him back into the game safely.
Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, it was looking super dicey for a moment there, but they just had enough time to bounce back and then live off the siphons. Way to keep it close. Well, Japco and Rise had 2 heroes right now, but how did they pick them up? You might be wondering. There it is.
Really just captured some solos, separated from each other. already weak, already hurt, with really nothing left to heal up. It's those little points. Now it's going to help them a little bit with their damage from Surge. Not much, because you know those players will be. But you already see the split up right now. Rise on the north side of Brutal Boxcars, trying to look, find some players on the whole north side of the map. Down below on the south side is going to be Muzz and Yapko. They have that mountain ridge to look after, so it's not going to be easy damage for them.
Magic Moss is looking a little messy right now. Taki, Ishu, and Verb right here. The scanner comes out. Who else do we have here? Beeb and Chin. Chin just gets blasted by, I think it was Bird's trio on the low ground. It wasn't even Yamzo, Clix, or Higgs. If it was, they would have surely jumped on that. They're sizing up the competition. They're, I guess, noticing that this team's being a little passive, so out comes the splash, up they go, the piece. Yamzo with the failed miss, but no biggie there. Chimp and Aviv are just trying to heal here. The information is through. They know this is a two-man team. This is perfect for Yamzo, Clix, and Higgs, who need these points right now. No team around to chop them down either. I was a little concerned that Verstro might take advantage of it, but no, they're already gone for the rotate here.
Yeah, they went east and just really haven't looked back. They know how far some of these bones have been pulling, so they're trying to take advantage of that. As Chip tries to break his way in, he immediately gets taken out. Vive doing some damage, but it's really not going to be enough. Odds were truly stacked against him. Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs pick up their 4th elimination of the game. Almost 900 damage above the threshold, and another pile of loot to claim as their own.
Now this just sets them up even once again with peterbot, golden ritual for anyone keeping count of the elims there. Reed Cooper and Curly, after that close call, have now officially moved into kind of the pump power territory, but look at the zone popping once again down to the mountain. Man, yesterday was all Magic Mosses. Today, these mountains are just getting all types of love right now.
I just feel for Tachi and Shumbert. They were rotating to the east, thinking it was going to pull in that direction. You see them in pump power now, really unable to safely get out because they're contested. Reed Cooper, Curly being proactive. They're trying to rotate quick because we saw where they went, staying extra long in flooded frogs, rotating towards the east. And as soon as the zone pulled, I feel like they were one of the first teams to move.
Gotta be quick to move here. Looks like Reed, Curly, and Cooper's timing here was perfect, though. You're right into the mountain here. Not too much pressure from up top. Decay and Cynics is the trio set up there. Brave the Minish and Visuals for Elim, still riding the momentum of that huge early game that they had. And, you know, looking at Cynics, Polar, and Decay, the last couple of games have just fallen out of their favor, but they've had a couple of moments of greatness after yesterday's kickoff tournament. And coming into today, it just seems like their strategy is not quite connecting, but they are in the higher ground, so do keep that in mind. Clix, Yamzo, Higgs in another fight, though. What is happening here? Why did this one break out? Well, it seems like it was Chaos Gaming trying to play for some kind of cheeky storm rotate, but caught out here. Yamzo, Higgs, and Clix nearly sent back to the lobby, forced to use one of those very prestigious medmits. Now think about it. They use these up early, then they can't use them to play frontside zone the way they enjoy doing. So this is going to be the important moment. No surprise, this is exactly where they last left Chaos Gaming, by the way. In this riverbed around these bushes. So he must have just been moving. And look who's in the distance there, Jacob. It's peterbot's trio on the edge, who's just now starting to rotate.
I just heard the pain of the entire lobby right now as the zone pulled over towards Brutal Boxcars. Luckily this time around, like I believe one of our zones yesterday, there's a lot of open space down the edge on the north side of the mountain overall where teams are going to be able to pick and choose, kind of cross their fingers. Hopefully it pulls north, east, or west and not south. Called Peterbot and Ritual. They got themselves a little bit of an edge on the western side. No real elevation, but they're a team that, you know, whether if it's the 7th zone, 8th zone, 9th zone, if they want high ground, they're going to take it, regardless of their material count. Especially, that's what last game proved us. And with everybody kind of stacking this western side of the zone and the south side of the zone, they do have a little bit of priority and comfort knowing that there's not too many teams that can challenge them on this edge.
Here's Here's the thing, it's zones like this that if it pulls the wrong way, it starts costing you all of your material. Sets you up for a bad end game. peterbot, the only one that's still capped on this trio, so not too far behind here. Look at how peterbot hunting for those weakened fresh builds. We had just saw clix's trio make a move around here too. See their position right in between Buzz's trio here. Everyone now desperately waiting for the zone to pop.
Yeah, 30 seconds. If you're above Surge, especially by like 359 like they are, you really don't want to peek. Reset those walls, end up getting 3-2-1, focused by a full team. It's those little things, and that's why you're seeing them just try to gather as much information down below and not really a lot of opportunities going around the entirety of the lobby, or at least not safe ones, forcing some teams probably to go box to box and try to fight their way in. Time has run out for this zone. Let's see where this next one is going to pull towards the south. Again, yeah, not too bad. There is some of the mountain range in there, but most of the lobby just got blessed.
Yeah, clix, Higgs, and iamso recognize they gotta fight their way through Muzz's trio, so these shots are almost warning shots, trying to send them off to rotate, but Muzz, Rise, and Japco kind of sticking around right now. Meanwhile, what is happening over here? Reed, Curly, and Cooper have picked up 5 eliminations from what we last left off. A full team wipe onto Hayes' trio here, setting themselves up for a great positioned end game now as well. They're one of the few teams leading the front side here. They're sitting right above peterbot's team. Take a look at this quick replay here, Jacob. So much going on here.
You gotta imagine this. And you gotta push into their box, but that's gonna heal them in. Curly, Reed, and Cooper trying to heal up from that last battle, but you see a lot of shields missing. And that means they're going to be in a tough situation here, especially with so many teams nearby. Muzz, Rise, Yap. Missing shields, missing resources, but they're making sure to stay elevated away from everybody else because they know the chaos is what's ensuing down below. It's like quicksand. As soon as you step 1 foot in, you start to sink.
Think about it. They're one of the few teams that have played for high ground. Booga, Rapid, and Brent have often played consistently for high ground over the course of the weekend when the opportunity has presented itself, and to no surprise here, Zone 8, Zone 9, early high ground take, but they're committed.
And it goes up the side of the mountain, so in theory, as those teams rotate under them, they can try to reconnect time and time again. This peterbot is being seen in the distance. clix, iamso, Higgs trying to run up, keep control of the front side of the zone, but now they find themselves below the damage threshold, and it's active. You're seeing them already taking a few ticks, 93 below, falling further, but great shots like that from the full trio. They quickly focus, get above the damage threshold, and then rotate right away. This is what they're doing, Monster, to maintain their position in the front side of the zone ahead of all these teams.
Super clean rotate, but damage is what they need right now. Jacko and Sheen, that's a dangerous mistake for them to be trailing behind clix, iamso, and Higgs, but no! And Higgs ends up getting caught off guard by the other team they were put in between, and now the shots are starting to come on in. Jacko Muzz take advantage of a little bit of that distraction there. 73 above now. It's up to clix and iamso. This is the first we've seen them as a duo now. But the pressure is on to perform. Placement points are starting to get given out. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual heating up now. 6 eliminations. Aiden falls to the hands of peterbot here.
But still below the damage threshold. Reed's playing essentially second height, trying to wait for the perfect moment to go up. As clix finds another elimination onto Yapco. That's their 7th one of the game, going toe-to-toe, Elim for Elim with peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. The right strategy to try to stay alive, and the zone pulls far away yet again, and they're taking the slow side. They're going to where it opens up and immediately look back. A quick momentary target onto them, but they handle it with ease.
peterbot's team playing for high ground, though. Look at how they're trying to poise up here. Focusing up, taking teams in the mid-ground for fights, and really looking to try to position themselves, but the zone kind of goes up and over this mountain, playing off of the little bit of territory that they managed to claim here. iamso and clix, though, in a world of trouble to find Sphinx there, and they are still going. iamso flexing here and now, up and over the box. Danger lurking everywhere right now, still trying to just hold these little bits of maps that he has. and he's playing for himself, but no, the full shield comes in. Iamso too soon, too early, caught out by Curve and his crew. It's all up to Clix now, top 8 here, just holding on. How far can he take it? It's his moment. How badly does he want this championship? How badly does he want this title?
Only 20 on the Chug Jug. That's a giveaway. You saw them peeking through. He had to sacrifice 10 of that HP, but without builds, he's at the mercy of his opponents. He lands a good shot, but immediately goes down by Braids. And this is the chance for peterbot, Cold, and Ritual to start to pick up the lead, but he slides too far down the mountain. He goes down. I saw Tyler fall as well. Cold tried to put in work. He gets the elimination and falls before being able to pick up the Siphon. Now it's all up to Ritual. The points that they need to separate themselves going into the last game of the day, and Ritual falls on top of that. Best case scenario for Clix, Higgs, and Iamso going into game 12.
Couldn't write a better story here with how close it's been, and look at who is running it up now. Curly Cooper from the darkness shines a little bit of light. 12 elims right now in the top 3. They are keeping it competitive. They are looking to fight their way to the global championship here and now, and this is a defining moment. Angels comes down, puts one down, Rapid falls too. Booga here to try and clutch it up, and it's all down to everything here. Angels, man behind the wall, bats are coming out. Booga's on the low ground, Threats is here to back them up, and they win the game, and another victory royale. The first to go for Booga and Threats there. They kick the tournament off with the win. They get a win coming into game 11, and it just doesn't get better than that for them.
Yeah, with how close the race is for the global spot, that's exactly what they needed. Not only moving up the leaderboard, but starting to build that confidence. You got to give credit to Reed, Cooper, and Curly as well, hanging on to the very last moment. Even Agers only solo in that top 3, and he still squeaked out a second place.
Rapid, Booga, and Threats, you got to think about it. They were in 6 coming into this tournament, and we're talking neck and neck with Muzz, Jacko, and Rai. So with that victory right now, that is a big moment for them coming out of game 11, Zeke. It's just getting more and more competitive.
Booga! That's right! That's my GOAT! I can't believe from 9th zone they had height. And you know, Kelly, it got a little scary for just like 1 second. Like, they went a little too high. But they kind of preemptively planned, right? They were like, hey, we're going to build just a touch higher than normal. And if the zone pulls up in the bottom, we're set. It doesn't. They immediately recognize, back off, and go, all right, let's start to close out this game. We want a little bit of victory out before game 12.
I mean, you say you can't believe it, but we saw them do this in game number 1 yesterday. The Booga, when they do have height, they do such a good job kind of observing where the zone is pulling, how low ground is kind of holding everything, and they play so appropriately around the rest of the lobby. Big shout outs to Rapid, Booga, and Threats. They really are the kings of high ground this last week. And I mean, when you have someone like Booga up on height, and then you have Rapid and Threats just laying it down the chaos below, it's only a recipe for success, Vivid.
I mean, that's true. Sneaking into the top of the leaderboard, right? Threats, obviously, you know, we got peterbot and Cold. They're putting on quite a clinic, especially in terms of damage dealt. They're going to be first and second, but Threats has been staying close behind them, close third. We knew Threats, he's like the gamer. He's always going to get some search tags, kind of making sure that they're comfortable in making it into the end game right there. Booga making the calls, IGL, go for the higher gun, always setting this trio up. They seem to always kind of be in that spot to actually build one of those towers up so that way they can go ahead and at least fight for the high ground. This game didn't have to fight for it as much, and they went ahead and ran away with that, got the victory royale.
Man, I love to see it. A single game left to go before Major 2 concludes. When we return, the standings, and we set ourselves up to see who will be crowned kings or back-to-back champions out of NA. We'll see you after this. took time. I did my breathing exercises. I tried to calm myself down. My tiny little hummingbird heart, and I'm fine for the moment. I'm zen right now. Things are okay. One game left to go in the FNCS Major number 2, Kelly. I'm not stressed at all.
Zeke, what are you doing? I am so stressed right now. Are you kidding me? Look at this standings that we have. Ritual, Cold, and peterbot, the team that everyone thought was going to walk away in first place for Major 1, trying to reclaim their former glory. Clix, Higgs, and Iamzo in Major 1 finally break the 4th place curse, and now they're looking to win for the first time ever for all 3 of them. And then, of course, in 3rd place, you got Reet, the global champion of Coop. Doing such a good job right now. There's so much potential. How aren't you freaking out right now, Vivid? Something's wrong with Zeke.
Yeah, I was fully expecting him to just go ahead and break out into a Zeke geek, even with all those breathing exercises. But peterbot, cold, ritual. You guys will just not place outside of the top 10, will ya? 4th place, 10 eliminations. 35-point lead going into game number 12. Now listen, 35 points. I wouldn't say that it's a comfortable one. It's definitely not a comfortable lead, but I think they can work with that. I think they're definitely set up very, very nicely right here to go ahead and win this FNCS. With 35 points, Clix, Higgs, and Iamzo. That's the team that's trailing them right now. The finish going into game number 12. Might be the first time that a Vivid freak happens.
Ooh.
So what you're saying is we just have them land on each other. That's it. Let's just settle it right now. Let's just take it back to Invitational, Kelly. Let's just do that.
Yeah, I want to see, you know, peterbot go to Lone Wolf Lair, and then Clix, they'll be going to Crime City, so they each get each other's POI. But no, I mean, Clix, Higgs, and Iamzo in that game where they had 5 eliminations and they were still below Storm Surge. And we know that there are some, let's just say, funky things going on with their drops, and they're dealing with some players that have caused a little bit of issues. For them to have that fall into their lap, Vivid, and still be able to come out on top in the low ground, especially when you have Iamzo pulling out these crazy solo clutches. I mean, my goodness, what is this final game going to spell for them?
I keep watching these games from both perspectives of each one of the trios that are in 1st and 2nd right now. And for example, right there, right, Higgs went down, and it was like, you know, that would have been like top 14 if the trio went down right there at the same exact time. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the game, right? This is the game where they falter, be too big of a lead, and then they just don't. The duo 7th place, 8 eliminations. They make sure they keep it competitive. Neither one of these trios will go down. Neither one of them will make that giant mistake that goes ahead and defines the rest of the competition, which again is why we're going into game number 12, and it's even close at all because of all of the clutches that have been happening.
I think it's fair to say Clix has qualified to the Global Championships, right? I think it's it's a pretty safe bet. However, there is still a time. Just be unbelievable to see him win. Now, of course, there's other players as well, like Reed Cooper and Curly. The job's not done, right? We're at a comfortable 666 points. But the job is not done. We still need to make sure we put a few on the board, because what we don't want to do is slip out of that top 4. Because again, remember, peterbot are qualified for the top 4. But still, we just need to put on a little bit more of a performance, and we very well could be securing ourselves a spot, going to globals, and seeing Reed Cooper and Carly there.
This is now the major that you want to make it in. You don't want to have to go through major 3. There's only 2 spots open, and this is just the best performance we have seen out of Reet and Cooper and Curly in quite some time. Cooper just kind of surprised everyone when he got the global championship, and I actually got to have an interview with him in Major 1 where he's like, I have the trophy, I don't need to prove myself anymore. But yet he comes back for Major 2 and is proving himself once again. This is why I won with Miro. Do not sleep on me, because I'm not done yet.
Yeah, and my eyes are going to be tuned into that 4th place spot. Visual Braids and Administer, are they going to be able to hold on? Rapid Booga Threats, are they going to be able to steal that qualification spot? I think Muzz, Yapko, and Rise are also close enough to be in contention. Oh gosh, see.
That was fun, and then you made it more stressful. This is it. One last game out of major number 2. Let's find out how this all concludes together. Casters, for the last time, take it away.
This major's been so entertaining, and peterbot and clix make it even more entertaining. Peterbot literally sending out a photo to his social media of clix at the globals from last year. This is gonna be crazy, Jacob, as game 12 is cooking up right now, and we already know there's one finals on the line, and there are other global championship spots that are being fought for. 3rd and 4th place in particular, as Zeke just set the stage, is not safe at all. So here we have it, Jacob.
Yeah, and you got to think clix, Higgs, and Iamzo have all come so close to winning an FNCS before. This is game 12. Will they achieve that? It wasn't too long ago, 2024, Major 3, Higgs, known as Batman Booga back then, he got a 2nd place with Rapid. Iamzo been in this position with Rise. They end up bouncing out of that top position after day 1. Clix and Veno during duos leading after day 1 as well. Every single one of these guys fell short. But what happens is one setback makes for a greater comeback, and now uncontested. No funny business in this game.
Clix queuing up with the icon skin as well. Just one final time, letting everyone know who is in the lobby right here as he fights for his very first finals championship here at the FNCS stage, and it just doesn't get any better than that. And you know what? They are just letting go a sigh of relief as they are uncontested. Saw a couple tweets coming out from the woodworks from Sandman the Lid as well, just saying, you know, hey, I'm gonna take train here from peterbot, Ritual, and Cold, but seems like they were just messing around, trying to keep us on our toes here. Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold seem to have their strategy going about as usual.
Yeah, kind of everything here the same as almost every other game out the gates. I think visuals, braids, and diminish have somebody set up towards Foxy to try to land some shots over in this direction. Early surge, allowing them flexibility through the early and mid portions of the game, so we don't have to certainly make it too much of a focal point. And that actually isn't diminished. He's going to go ahead and back up. Go ahead and loot that server room, something that they fought for and conditioned this team that if you're going to fight us for it, it is going to be a risk for both of us. And now on the north side of the map, Flooded Frogs, Reet, Cooper, and Curly. They just need to close out, Monster.
They have to stay consistent. They're 60 points ahead right now. However, they need to earn at least an end game. They gotta touch those placement points. And we all know that just even last game, right? Teams can mix up their strategy. Clix and his trio decided to kind of ambush Reet, Cooper, and Curly, almost catching them off guard there for a brief moment. They got away with it. This is a team that can't